the 5150 interview series in Bulldozer Magazine with Graveyard. I'm here with.
Jonathan.
And Truls.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you back. I want to welcome you back to Los Angeles. One of the things that's very interesting about Graveyard, from the beginning of your first album, there was always been a misinterpretation in the beginning of your musical inspirations and where you were going. A lot of people were somewhat trying to classify it in the 70s Americana rock and roll, and then going into the whole like free and humble pie and the whole psychedelia. The one thing that I like that now is relevant is the fact that you guys are a real rock and roll live band. That is a trait that most bands don't have nowadays. When you play on stage, you could tell that you're not playing as a rock band. You're playing as four guys who just are jamming. I commend you for that. You're playing here with Mastodon and Clutch, but last year you were here with Motorhead. Your audience is very wide. You play with such different demographics. How do you like the reception you're getting from each different category of fan base that you're playing to?
I think we're very lucky to be, to be liked as a band because we kind of sit in between different chairs, like our name and maybe the record covers is making people think that we're more a metal band, or and we're from Gothenburg. The melodic metal scene is pretty big there. So, but it's great to be. It's a good spot to be in anyway, even though it's in between something. But yeah, we just we do what we like to do, and we're very fortunate to be appreciated.
One of the things that's really relevant that I enjoy after I've been following your career is the fact that you embrace harmonies. Again, this is something that most bands they run away from. You embrace harmonies, melodies. Is that something that you do consciously, or is that just something you come up with in the jamming session?
I think it's more of a jam session thing, and
Is that why it sounds so pure?
I don't know. I mean, we like to turn up the volume and down with the distortion a little bit, and then we somehow it's, I don't know. it's it's different from every song. It's like you gotta think about it more in some songs. And
Do you find the freedom of just plugging into the amplification and just embracing music? Because you know what I'm saying? Most musicians nowadays, they're going by what their target area is and their image and what they trying. It's so refreshing and so rewarding to just see a band go up and just really play for the love of music. And if you want to crank it loud, you crank it loud. If you want to slow it down and bust out a harmony, it's great. What do you feel about that?
I think what's great about the band is like whatever genres the Graveyard touches on, it's may touch on. It's always like I think the music goes back to the roots of the genres and the foundation of it, which is like just playing music and together and jamming, as you say, and not being too bound to the rules of a genre that maybe metal or stoner or rock and roll or something. Like it could be anything, and as long as the vibe is there between us, I think it's good.
Would you have anything to add to that?
no, I think it's right. It's just we do what we think is fun to do, and that's how it comes out on stage and live, hopefully as well.
It really does. It really just it transcends very well when you listen to the record, and then when you see a band live. Because there's some bands that they really capture that magic on vinyl, while they're recording, and then on stage it's just not there. So it's more manufactured. But what I really enjoy is that whatever you listen to on the album, it really transcends live on stage where it counts. Which, let's get into the next subject. It's been a couple of years since you've released anything. You played a new song tonight. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and tell us a little bit about new material?
Yeah, we don't have a name for it yet. Actually, the new song we played, but it's we call it Shunken. I don't know, but anyway, we recorded a new record very recently in Stockholm, in Sweden, and it's been a different way of doing it this time. We used other people and a different space, which is much bigger than the studio we used earlier on the first 3 albums. So.
Did that transcend in regards to the energy, the different environment? Did that help you in the recording and writing process?
Yeah, I think because we wrote all the songs pretty much before we went up there, and but it's definitely changed the vibe during the recording. If you can hear, you know, the amps, yeah, the acoustics and the amps going into the drum set, microphones and everything, like it creates more space in between the instruments and the notes and everything. So it's been a new experience, and it's been a good one, I think. So hopefully it's turning out good. We haven't heard a mixed material yet, but yeah.
When you released Lights Out, it got a lot of very good reviews, and it opened up the band to a whole new demographic, like I say. Also, with your touring schedule of such different bands, did you find that being, I don't want to say stressful, but when you were writing for this record, how do you keep that contamination away from the purity of the writing process? Because now you have a whole other market, which means potentially more sales. And do you keep that in mind? Do you separate yourself from that? Talk to me about how you keep the contamination part away from the writing process.
Yeah, it's as you say, it's kind of hard to just be focus on what you do in the practice space, and then go out, play live shows, and yeah.
Trying to follow up and stay pure.
Oh yeah, but it's been all right. We don't worry too much about that kind of things, and we have a lot of freedom from the record labels and the people that we work with. They don't put any pressure on us, so we just try to focus as good as we can on the writing, and you have to, of course, you have to keep it separate, like the live shows and what you do in the practice space. But it's been all right, and we never been really, as you say, haunted by people and stressed out by people. It's been pretty smooth all the way. So.
One of the things that I really liked about your last record, Lights Out, is the lyrical content, which again is another lost art form. You have such social messages in there if the reader chooses to look into that. You're actually up on stage not only rocking out, but there is a social message there for the listener. It's been a couple of years around the world, not only here in the United States. I'm sure you're well aware now that you're touring with the riots or everything. Is there any social messages that you're addressing with this new material?
I think it's it's kind of where we have been earlier, and with other writing, but it's hard to explain, but it's everyday experiences and problems.
The new record a bit more personal. The lyrical content is a bit dealing with the personal side of everything.
Are you opening up more to be vulnerable with your own personal experiences on this album?
Maybe a little, yeah. I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. So it's we wouldn't change it's different subjects from song to songs, but as you say, it's a social message in there, and it's a big part of how we work as persons as well, and the group, of course. So You know, we don't want to point fingers and say this is the way, or but it's just how we feel, and yeah.
We were talking about the lyrical content. One of the things that I really enjoy also about Graveyard, which needs to be mentioned, is even though, like you said, you're not preaching, as we know as music lovers, artists like John Lennon in the 70s, bands that in the 70s, like MC5, they were writing about subject matter of what was around at that time. I feel you capture that essence. But how do you transcend that to an audience that now is, while you're playing, 50% of them are taking pictures on their iPhone of you, trying to capture you, you know. You see what I'm saying? The attention span is not there. And with Graveyard, I noticed that you're able to do that with whatever listenership, which is rare because most bands, they get the listener and then they lose them. But with Graveyard, just like as I saw tonight with your show, everyone that was there, and mind you, let me add, they started at 7 o'clock today, which is a very early set. You captured everyone there and everybody was rocking out. So how do you do that? And I commend you for doing that.
Oh, thank you very much. But sometimes you can feel that as well while you're playing, that they actually listen, and that's a good feeling. But at the same time, you see all these cameras and phones up in the air, and it's a kind of, it makes you a little more stiff, I suppose. You can't really relax fully sometimes if you focus on it, which of course we try not to do. But it's I don't know. It's just we try to make the songs and the lyrics fit together, I guess, more with, as you said, like we bring it down sometimes to play more mellow and not have the full speed all the time. And I think that helps a lot with that, capturing the attention from people.
I think, yeah, but is the observation of it, like, is sometimes you notice that maybe the audience doesn't really get all the lyrics or listen to the lyrics that much, but as long as the band feels like we know the lyrics and we feel like these are great lyrics, we play better, and we feel like, okay, this is like great stuff, and the people will appreciate the whole thing because of us liking the lyrics and the message and everything, and we play better. So some of the audience will, like, of course, listen to the lyrics and like them, and some of them listen more to the riffs or the energy of it all, and it all, like, the lyric will add to it all, the whole experience.
I guess, would it be safe to say that, similar to the bands of decades ago, that their music is timeless, if you stay pure and genuine and honest, that's all you need to do. And one of the things that I've always enjoyed about your band, and after seeing you play tonight, is, as I mentioned before, a real rock and roll live band. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm here with Graveyard. When will this new record be out that doesn't have a title?
Late September, I think. This year. Yeah.
And no working title yet?
We have one. I'm pretty sure it's, I don't know. I think, I'll wait for a while before I do that. But
In the meantime, you're touring with Mastodon and Clutch throughout the whole United States. Go check them out. They're great. This is Jimmy Cabs. See ya.